And it's about email addresses. Apparently, I'm not getting my personal email for some reason. Be interested to see how many people are watching YouTube videos. Yeah, I was more with that. I got a busy. Chris Goldsman and I had to change it. Basically, all that. Was there an issue with the public? I got a clock that's connected to the public IP and it said that it couldn't connect. I didn't know if there was an issue. I did. Yeah, CP server. Right. I got a clock that's connected to the public IP. Rusty, you got a request from Rusty to control your computer. Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Wake up. Yes.
It's not dark in here. Gotta move it like. Move it, I'll go back to sleep. Move it like.
Yeah, gonna be here. Chad gonna be here?
I don't know.
Morning.
Good morning.
So what now? Financial folder and Sandy Bill. You get that FYI, those CDLs. Yeah, right, at their levels.
Right, but it's not gonna affect us. I think it'd be simpler to do ones for all cities. Because some of the others are for buses.
Well, no, yes, no, it affects, see, some of my drivers can only drive a dump truck, and others can drive a truck trailer, and others can do a truck trailer and a tanker.
Mhm.
So it's only have two that can drive a truck trailer, a truck and a belly dump, or any kind of trailer. Rest of them are, there's a class B and a class A.
Right,
Like in precinct 4, they don't have any class A license. Everything they've got is just class B. Is that right there? No, you are. Yeah, so since you told her that, I wanted to get that.
that's one.
Mhm. Mhm.
Oh. All right, I'm ready to begin.
Yes, sir.
Virgil's gonna be out. Ted's here somewhere on his way.
Did he bring that in or did Keegan bring it in?
I don't know.
I haven't seen one morning.
I didn't need it.
I'm gonna check. Take
That's right.
There it is. All right, I will call our budget meeting to order at 9:03 on what's today, Monday, June 26th, 2023. Are there any public comments? All right, we will proceed. This morning we have the first budget workshop will be the district clerk, Karen Wilson.
Good morning,
Good morning.
how are y'all?
We're doing great. You?
I think mine's gonna be pretty easy. I don't know. I think y'all had some budget hearings this week while I was on a conference about salaries, but I just wanted to tell y'all how I came up with my, what I predicted for my employees. And then I just took all the counties, we called around and got, averages about what they make, and then I just divided that into the amount of counties that I called, and it's like $5,000, like $7,000 for my chief deputy, $5,000 for my employees. I ran downstairs because we were trying to see Drew this morning. I put 67,000 on mine, but mine had 64. I don't know why I did that, but the one that I prepared myself was 64 for the district clerk salary. The office supply was asking for additional $2,000.
Okay. Hold on, you've only spent 3,600 this year.
And I have bought envelopes. We're
Okay.
completely out of envelopes. So I gotta get the jury envelopes, and I gotta get regular envelopes.
Okay,
And I've already got quotes from,
okay,
so that'll leave thousands
pretty
of
much,
dollars.
okay,
Postage, postage is going up.
right,
So I hope that is enough. We are doing passports. We've been bombarded with passports. We can only add 7 to an envelope, and right now it's costing $10 to mail out each envelope, so we do several envelopes a day. And then that plus that.
we
is
do
included-
recover that cost, correct?
It goes-
Passport fees,
Yes, sir. But
Okay.
you get $35 for each application, which that goes back to revenue for the
Okay.
county. So
do we have the
Yes.
ability to set those fees? Passport fees?
the state sets those fees, which are the $35.
Okay,
so-
so 10 of that goes to postage in itself, right?
Yes. For every 7,
Oh, okay.
applicants, we can only put 7 on a transmission.
Okay.
So. Training, I'm just leaving mine. I do share a lot with the district clerk from Kaufman County. We pay the drive, she gets a room, I get a room, we just. So that'll be good for the next 4 years, she's retired. then I'll have to probably up that a tad, and then the travel is just for $200.
The explain on training, you got 5,000 budget this year, but you've only since, so that's 714.
I was not able to go to my first conference for my winter conference because I was short-handed. And then I don't know if this conference just came out of this, was it the same thing, the conference? No, what about the conference I just attended? That's probably 1,500 for this one that I just attended. And then we've got, post-legislative, TAC,
Mhm.
and then we have our winter conference.
So you got.
So, yeah. those are the two
Do you send any of your employees to training, or how do they get trained?
Me coming back and training them.
Okay.
There is one, the users conference for LGS, I do let them attend. So that we can kind of split up there, and they both, you know, they get the training that they needed. Peggy just went to CJIS training, which was free, we just had to pay for her knowledge and her meals.
Mhm.
So her lunch was basically all of it. But I really don't have the personnel to keep the office running and
What is your,
Make
what's
some-
the current status?
on my,
Yeah, are your positions filled?
no, I have one more.
You have one
I have
more.
one more position to fill. So it's just hard to train on. It takes a good 3 months hard to train one.
Mhm.
And I just don't want to do that to the supervisor over in the civil department to train two at a time. One time would be very,
Mhm.
so. I'm planning to get the next one, is just get this one trained. Subscriptions, that's my subscriptions to the district clerk, county district clerks association, plus the district court alliance. That's still the same, and then our bonding and our miscellaneous for the 200.
Do your clerks need bonding or just you?
We all have to be qualified on.
Okay.
And then I just, on their salaries, that's all I did, was just. I just went by our counties, our population, all around, and got what the chief deputies made and what the deputies made.
Okay.
And so that's how I came up with that.
Can we get one of those here?
Yeah, you send that. Somebody
You need the copies of this?
send us an email.
I like paper copy.
Yeah, I'll already a copy of this. Yeah, this was all the ones that we called and. And I've got, I'll lock that out, my notes. But. Other than that, mine's pretty simple.
Okay.
I appreciate y'all.
Any discussion from commissioners?
None from you?
Is there any items? Question? Okay. That's it. Thank you very much, Karen.
Thanks.
Good night. We'll just go ahead and move into the library if you're ready.
It's cooler over here than it is at my place. I still have electricity.
Did you contact them?
You can, yes, you can report it online and you have a meeting. You try to use the auto, the voice automated, you have to have it not that. Well, thanks to you, I have a meeting on.
All right. Didn't seem to find my. There it is. Okay. All right.
Okay. I asked for a few increases. One was office supplies, and I asked for $200 more because normally we have, people that use the copier a lot will commit to donating so many boxes of paper to us in a year's time. Like, some of the genealogy ladies, copy a lot, and they bring paper several times a year. I have not had anybody say that they would like to bring paper this year. So when I talked to the office supply, he said he expects it to be over $50 a box here fairly soon. So I added 200 to my office supplies. Okay.
Okay, that seems pretty high. Are you using, who are you using?
Yeah, we were contracted with, whoever we got, so.
Okay.
Next is postage. I talked to the postmaster. And, postage is gonna go up, to 66 cents. Here in just a few days, like on the 9th. And he says that there likely will be another increase in the year. They normally try to have 2 increases in postage a year. So if we get like 7 rolls of stamps, that accounts for the increase in my postage. Library supplies is here we order our book covering and all of our label protectors and the labels that go on the side of the book. There's 2 different kinds of book covering material that we use. And they do give us a discount. However, the people that we're 2 different places that provide library supplies, they've all increased their shipping by $15 for shipping on order. So I had to allow for that. No change in the EVP system training or travel. There is a pretty good change in library-based management. That's on my software. $3,000 of that.
Let's go back up to,
Yes.
let's go to the training. You got 1,400 budgeted for this year and you haven't spent.
No, none of that's changing. The web-based library management is.
Let's go back up to training. You got budgeted 1,400 for this year and you haven't spent any. Where is that going to be for?
That is like for me, for different things like, seminars with the, usually I do not attend the out of town, seminars with the Foster or whatever. I just do the online ones. It's what I've been doing. It's perfect. So I didn't use it last year. I don't know that I will this year, so I just looked at the same. And travel is $200. That is miscellaneous stuff like I'm going to Terrell to a seminar and all this. That's just mileage for my it's a small amount of money. In fact, I haven't even used it this last year.
Okay.
Everything's been being online. Everything I'm doing is online.
All right, now we're at the web-based library management.
Yes, that's the software for the library. And $3,000 of that is the e-books. That's what the biggest amount is. But that's our most popular thing that I would e-books. We have this last month 614 people signed on to the e-books, and that includes the Willis School District. They can only.
So it's all online. They don't actually have to come to the library.
Well, the books, they can read them, yeah,
Okay.
but only certain, the Willis kids can only read the things that are equivalent to the school system, like the classics and different things like that. They can only access it at school. And so far, they're the only school district who's asking for that. And other ones that are just making that option.
They are aware of that option?
As far as I know.
Okay.
I don't know about the principal for the Canton school now, but approached him about some things to work at the school. He was not interested, he's not interested.
Okay.
So I don't know. And also we had an increase in our passing software, which is on each computer that the patrons use. To, it won't let them log on if they haven't fine. They come to the front desk and pay their fine first before they can use the computer.
Right.
So, and then subscription dues was 300, that's on our magazines that we, have in the library. And I just added a little to it because it usually varies a little bit. We use a magazine subscription service. And so they give us a good rate on the magazines and stuff. Miscellaneous, $200. I just gonna put some. I've never even used it, I don't think, I don't know what you use it for. Office equipment is 500, that's the same. I use it.
Okay. What are you gonna spend on office equipment?
That's things like, that's furniture. That's furniture, like a book, maybe like a book chart or, you can buy, library furniture that like goes in the kids section. However, it's really, really cost, and that's the reason why I never bought anything with it. Little chairs that go in the, storage time area, those little cushions that you can buy that they can sit on the floor. Those are 200 and something a piece, and I would need, I don't know how many. Anyway, we had one of our patrons who donated some really nice wooden chairs that he bought at an auction, and he donated 100 of them to us. So I don't feel that I'll have to have any library furniture for the kids area for a long time. With really nice chairs. The next increase that I have is 12,000 for books. It was 9,000 this last year. I added 3,000 more in the event that I have to purchase some of the kids' books. Normally, the Friends have fundraisers to help pay for all of that. This last year wasn't all that good of a year for fundraisers, so I've been having to buy some of the kids' books out of my budget, and there's not enough for me to buy all the adult books and help buy some of the kids' books.
Now, what is your process for selecting books to be put in the library?
Well, I have two different places that I order from. One is England Publishing. They give you a 47% discount on most things, and you can put your order in, and you can tell it to tabulate what your order is going to be, and it will give you the price of what your order is going to be. And they're usually really competitive. I mean, we've tried to order some things off of Amazon before, and England, it's their price, and you get a better product. The book covering is nicer, and the hardbook books are, nicely bound, for the library, and they're able to expand the kids and people. And we have two different companies that provide our large print. The large print books are all hardcover, and they are fairly expensive. They're like about $37 a piece for these large print books. However, we have a lot of seniors, and that's what they read, is a large print. So I usually wait until they're having a sale on them, and I commit to buying about 48 books a year from them, so I can get a lesser price as well.
Okay. What would you say the number of books that you buy per year is?
But normally for each month, depends on how many new releases are coming out every month. And some months are more than not, like September's a big month. I try to allow $1,000 for the big months, and then the other months for somewhere around $300 or $400. So I would say. I don't know what it is. I'm not sure exactly. We were monthly.
How do you promote the new books?
How do we promote them?
Yes, how do people know you got new books in stock?
Well, we put it on our Facebook page, or we make pictures of them and put them on the Facebook page. We have a kiosk for all the new books, and they have a special for the lot,
Okay,
and they can come in and see those. We usually have a display right at the front, we bought a, little bookshelf type thing, but got my husband to put it together and make it look nicer than what it did, and we put that in the foyer, and we put all of our new, new things, we have a different display, and we put those, like, if there's somebody special that's not like James Patterson, somebody who does some details about, or Daniel, still we put all of theirs on a display, and so people can see it, and it's really popular, the pictures online, because people, they love this. And they call right away and get online and find them, so they new ones before somebody. So, that's kind of funny, because we're not a big library, so we don't have multiple copies of books. Big libraries, order 5 copies of the same book. We don't do that, so you have to get online and reserve your copy.
mhm. Okay,
And I think that's all.
all right, what's your current staff? How many people do you have?
There's 3 of us. We have a really big staff of volunteers and friends, have a lot of volunteers. And we've got a lot of team volunteers too, homeschool teams that volunteer.
And what are your hours?
We're open 9 to 5, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, and Thursday is our late day, we're open from 10 to 6. We're closed Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, primarily because we don't have enough staff to do it those days, because if 3 of us were to work it would be overtime.
Okay. So what do you see as your biggest issue right now that you're facing? Biggest issue?
No,
No, you don't have any issues other than the power being out?
yeah, if it were good storm, if we would be. So, we got a new, we got a new air conditioner. I'm just hoping that that little thing Friday didn't do anything with the air conditioner.
Okay. All right, y'all have any questions?
No, sir.
No? All right,
Okay.
thank you very much.
I appreciate it.
You bet.
Sandy, are her employees full-time employees? And
Yes, too.
well, how come they're not working 40 hours a week? I see Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, and Thursday. Each one of them days, 8 hours a day. Are we paying them for 40?
They probably, that's the hours the library is open.
Oh, okay.
They probably come in early and leave late to set up stuff.
Okay,
That's what I'm thinking.
okay. That makes sense. I heard them open. I was just thinking they're not there when they're not open. So they're there on Mondays, they're just not open.
Most likely not. What I'm saying is they probably come in 30 minutes early and leave 30 minutes late in order to stock books or prepare.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. So,
While we're on that, I personally don't see any need for postage to increase. Even from 2020, if it nearly doubled it, they still wouldn't hit it. They only spent $143 in 2020, 110 in 2021, and 25 this year.
Mhm.
So I'm not sure it needs to increase.
Okay. So you want to leave it at 250?
I mean, that's just a suggestion. Am I
Yeah,
right?
if they haven't, we could actually go down to 150.
Uh.
It doesn't look like, even if they doubled. Of course, that's not. Yeah,
I don't know if I'd cut it because we don't know what the increase is gonna do, but 1 year
$3.
and
yeah, they're going to spend $63 this year.
it's,
And the prior 2 years, it was,
Time sheet showed 77 to 80 hours. That's what they do.
okay.
so I don't know if I'd cut it, Andy, but I don't see any increase in it.
All right.
70 hours.
And I personally don't see any need to increase the books. What's that, Sandy?
At 80 basis.
Okay, yeah,
What is that?
I wonder if she's still here. Text her.
She walked out.
All right, this text her. I want to go get Chris working on. The problem with they have 3-phase power at the library and one of the fuses is blown. And I thought she would have gotten that.
Oh, yeah. Friday was fine. Oh, that wasn't the big one for the night though. That was just one. I said, that wasn't the big one of the night though. They had some the excavator had trouble with. They had some trees the excavator had trouble with. We stayed on it till nearly 1 in the morning. Getting dirt trees out. And that was with the whole crew called in, so you could scatter and go different directions. Y'all get much done Friday night?
No, not too much.
Yeah.
Trees down.
Well, we got like y'all. We got it.
That's kind of the way we was the time before. We got a little, but y'all got it bad.
We were out somewhere. It took just about 3 or 4 hours to get it cleared up. Friday.
I wrote that down. Yeah, they have not been submitted for approval to the commissioners court. She's probably unaware that needs to be done. All right,
They got a friends of the library group.
they do.
Is that a 501c3 group?
Don't know if it's officially that or not.
The reason I was asking the ethical donations is that, and just be letting the library use it. Why should we bring them?
She's not, she didn't respond, she hasn't come back, so I will, hopefully she'll come back, and we can move on to the next.
We want to go over, before we move on, we want to go over the district clerk.
Yes, we can. Yes. And I'm not sure about the training. The 1,400, I think there should be some in there for training, but not 1,400,
I agree.
say 500.
That's fine with me. It should never hit anything.
And then, so if we agreement 500 for training instead of 1,400. And and then eliminate the EDP system unless, she comes back and explains what that is.
What's this one? I guess I stepped out and missed that.
We don't know what it is.
We don't know what it is, and it hadn't been, they haven't, paid anything for it before, so. Then maybe that's an ebook system that she's talking about, but there's no payment for it.
The ebook was in that,
That's right, it's 3,000,
3,400 figure.
the web base,
And
3,000, that's what it
Well, I
was.
see was using.
So are there any other items that we need to discuss? Postage and change, library,
Just if we're going to increase the capital on the books. I personally think not. I don't believe the county should have to step up just because volunteers quit working.
mhm. All right, book purchases back to 9,000.
Well, I'm in favor of it. I'm not going,
It's never even reached 9,000 in the past.
well, I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt and
Right.
think that she buys what she
Mhm.
has. She spends what she
Right.
has. But I think 9,000 is a good increase on our books every year. Myself,
All right. Did you get that, Cindy? 9,000 on that?
I mean, but there's four of us here, whatever y'all want.
Does she have something specific she was wanting to buy for jacking it up that much more?
No, she just said her donations are all from the Friends of the Library buy some and they hadn't been collecting money, but
And we're increasing our ebooks.
yes, sir.
That's what a lot of these.
And that's her software that she don't have no control over. So it's just whatever y'all think. I feel like 9 is good.
I think fine, 9 is fine. I'm calling her since she answered. All right. Let's move on. Until we hear back from her, I think the 850 ought to be scratched too, so we can get an
Yes,
explanation of what that is. Which we can have her come back in another session. All right, is there anything further on the library?
That EDP, is that one of those hearing impaired?
Don't know what it is. And again, there's been no prior expenditures for it, none this year so far, so,
Or last year,
yeah.
or the year before.
So, did we discuss office supplies? I think we should keep it at 2,000
That's fine with me.
rather than up it because. You get that, Sandy? Office supplies 2,000, same as last year. Okay, are we done with this? We'll go back to the district clerk.
Yes, sir.
All right. Office supplies are up to 12,000, is it 12 or 13? I can't see it.
Well,
From 10,000 this year, she's at 3,600. She's said she's got a big order of envelopes. But each of the prior years, it's been right around 5,000 or so. So it's more than doubling prior years.
I
How many
think,
years worth of envelopes you see behind?
I don't know.
I think we're fine at 1080, at 10,800 and so.
All right. You got that, Sandy? Same as last year. Postage, I think that's justified, that expense increase. And
Everything else is the same.
training, yeah. She's got three this year, which will bring that up to the 5,000 she's got budgeted, so we'll keep it at that.
Yes, sir. I think she's excessive. She never, the most she's ever spent 3,600 on. In 21 on training, but that's fine. It didn't go up any.
Yeah,
We don't have to talk about it right now, but as you said the other day about budgeting things that's never done, I don't know why we continue to budget for an employee in there. We're trying to give these raises, and it's been a year since ever since we gave her the employee, she never had. And so I don't understand why we continue to do that. We could use that money on these raises that we're trying to give.
That position hasn't been filled since I've been here.
That's correct.
But she said so much turnover. She, anybody would do this in terms of their. Pretty stable people in the other. So you would have a training, and leave, and then she put that kind of bottom. But a good raise may have that here. There's several departments that have other positions that they just.
I agree, and I don't understand why we continue to do that. So, anyway, that's my 2 cents for it.
Is her office responsible for scanning all those documents upstairs, try to get them to e-files or whatever?
Systems they have.
so the old documents we've contracted out to have scanned. Yes. They scan current documents.
Their emails and stuff, a lot, that's one of the things. Parts of their at the burn, that we have to check it all day long and stuff to be in process, that we might have to clear up with the file. Like very often.
That's just $30-something thousand to go towards our raises is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
If it's not being filled.
Well, if it hasn't been filled, I would suggest we eliminate it for this year. And then if she gets full employment for I guess she has 5 positions now, bring that back to 4.
And that's exactly what we're telling the sheriff. We're telling you cut positions and you get fully staffed, then we'll start talking about adding them back, but there's no need in budgeting for positions that you can't fill.
Right. So is that the consensus that we're gonna go ahead and drop one of the one position that hasn't been filled in a year and a half?
That's mine. I haven't heard from Chad or Brandon. Are you?
Well,
I really don't know. I mean, I don't know.
we can bring this back up when we talk personnel and salary raises.
That's fine.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
I'm just wondering if we can do the raise that we would like to do. If that's gonna let us fill a spot.
Do what?
I'm just wondering if we can do the raises we want to try to do, if that's gonna let us fill the position. If that's what the holdup is, or if it's some other problem.
I think we ought to, like Andy just said. We're gonna work on the salaries and the employees later. See what we have now, what we have now, and where we're at. And then, get one employee here, or if they need an employee there or whatever. And then kind of go by. Who needs what the most, if there's some money there, if there's not, then just kind of look at it that way. We don't know where our money is yet.
okay, so. We're not gonna make a decision right now, so let's move on. Anything else on the district clerk?
No, sir.
budget?
Not for me.
All right, we're ready to move on to the fire marshal.
So we look at the fire marshal stuff before we bring it in.
The fire marshal's on vacation. He won't be presenting. Chad and I will kind of fill in. He's sent in the information on his request. Find it. Get my mouse to work here. There he is. It's called the abatement office. So I'm gonna, rather than go to this right here, I want to go through his submission. He gave a detail right here. On the uniforms account, he's requesting $3,500 to purchase 3 sets of body armor for the law enforcement employees in the office. Estimate for that cost is $2,570. I'm thinking maybe able to get a grant for that, but probably still should budget for it until we know that we have the grant available. Okay, and then he's added a new line for evidence collection supplies that are needed. He's requesting $1,000. This is evidence that needs to be collected from a fire scene in which the criminal offense is suspected. Special collection cans and sealing tape is required, processing evidence to determine if the ignitable fluids were used. It can cost $150 per sample tested. This amount would cover the purchase of supplies and provide funds for testing. Okay. Additional part-time clerk, and the summary is to help get the annual contracts renewed. There's currently 2,752 systems that have expired maintenance contracts and have not been renewed. And if those get caught up, it would be $82,000. That's $30 per permit. And so he's requesting $23,000 for a part-time clerk that would work 24 hours a week at a rate of $14 per hour. And then we'll come back and discuss emergency management bus. I want to go through his line items on this budget real quick right here. So he's got office supplies at $2,500, which if we approve the part-time clerk and they do that process of renewing the expired permits, then that money would be needed for envelopes for mailing out permits, the notices to the individuals. What he did not account for is postage, and I looked that up, and if you did 24. Just one mailing to 2,750 people is gonna be $1,700, $1,732. And if you figure it, a mailing and a half, you'd have to do follow-up mailing to at least half of the others. That would be roughly $2,600 in postage that needs to be added to that amount right there. To do that follow-up. And then fuel and lubricants. He put the same amount as this year. But he hasn't, and I don't think he's had, the third person. Has he had a third person all year? Yes, okay.
When did Boyette go out there? When did Boyette transfer? He hasn't been there since October, has he?
No. His first year.
First of the year, okay. So that would account for some of the lower amount. So uniforms, we just discussed the uniforms, we just discussed, or the tools are the same or lower than last year. Contract services, he lowered. And I'm wondering if some of that has to do with the testing kits or whatever. Training at 4,000. Repair and maintenance. He did.
He went over the unit everything.
Okay. So. Really only 4 months it's been there. Okay. Got the miscellaneous and the evidence. So, and he did explain a little bit further down on the repair and maintenance that the vehicles that he has, 2 of them are gonna be in need of new tires in the coming year. So office supplies, 2,500, are we good with that? Assuming you have an additional person that's gonna be doing in the envelopes.
Well,
We don't know. If we have this-
I'm not for that additional person. That we started that out, part-time out there. And they were staying called up, and we made it full-time, and that was supposed to be even better. I do not, and another reason, you don't have a room for them out there. There's not room for another desk in that office.
I think that's another thing you discuss, it's like the library, we need to discuss that when we do salaries. We have employees.
Okay, well, that's gonna
Making her full-time was supposed to help with that. Or
Well, the
making her full-
part-time was nearly keeping up with it, and so we said, okay, we'll do full-time, and that'll let you stay up with it, and I just don't see another person going out there. And where are you gonna put them?
all right.
feel like maybe that's a discussion, as far as time accountability. For that.
Do what? I can't hear that fan.
I gotta turn.
Time accountability, that employee, I think maybe the, him for her time is all over the place, not at 7 in the morning, sometimes it's 8. She didn't walk in and out for meals, and I just feel like maybe there would be a little more supervision of her role that not help her.
Well, I know she's got I know there's some health issues out there and everything,
Yeah.
but we can't hire more help just because somebody's not at work all the time.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying, I think that's like part of mine, she's not maybe taking care of the role by what she do. She don't know anything like, never do ask for anything. She doesn't like miss days or anything, it's just like sometimes it's 7:19 in the morning, sometimes it's 7:55. Sometimes she works till 7 or 9, they're just different.
Is she working from home?
All I know is she was on a computer, I guess that team had to track whatever those addresses were that she'll be in. But I think that she does do that some, yes, from what I've been told. She does work.
Okay.
But you can't, see, there's what I'm saying.
Answering the phones and stuff, that's the big part of it.
You can do that, but you can't mail out the things that have to be mailed out from home.
The new telephone system will with that, you can do it all through your computer.
What?
I don't know what the purpose for a work from home would be.
I don't know. And I couldn't say how much that would, I just.
Well, I think it'd be best that we hold off on further discussion until Sean can be
Yeah,
present and
that's-
answer the questions.
yeah.
So I thought,
That's what I said.
what we do need to talk about is probably is emergency bus, management bus. Because he did request to add in there on the emergency management bus. That which currently he is, I believe we've delegated it to him. He is responsible for it.
Yeah, kind of, because, forever emergency management and Thermos was all one. They worked together in the office out there, and them guys were taking care of it during that time they was moved out of their building into it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of how it landed under them.
But basically he's requesting $8,000 to $10,000 to cover maintenance on the bus, which is a new set of tires, cover oil and filter change and handle, I know there's issues with the and generator repairs, and it covers fuel expense expected for using the bus. So and then yeah, there's all the items that need to be done to it. So I guess the question is, do we want to continue to invest? Actually, we just got a grant invested a bunch. The grant invested $50,000 in computer equipment in there, and so we do have a significant investment in it, and we need to keep it maintained in usable condition. So currently we don't have a line item for that emergency management bus, do we?
And the fire marshals offered that for emergency use.
Mm-hmm.
You can use his own call person to come get the bus and bring it out and set it up. That's emergency use only. We got an emergency act. If somebody wants to set up at a festival or something like that, they'll have to prearrange, they'll have to come get it. We're not going to put out nothing on that.
And that requires what kind of CDL license to drive? A or B?
I think it's B.
B.
What is an emergency management bus?
Bus.
It's a Bluebird bus. It's a huge bus that is outfitted, designed to be used in the event of an emergency where you could actually take it out on site, set it up, and have people kind of the command headquarters if you needed it.
Large emergencies.
Right.
When it was initially gotten, it wasn't never fully outfitted, but now that grant finished outfitting it. The issue is it's set for a long time. We started running some this past winter whenever the building flooded out there, the fire marshal's department office. And that's when we found some problems. The generator needs to have a radiator flushed and cleaned out, new fluid put in so it'll stay cool. Of course, the tires are set for 10 plus years.
So this is a one-time deal, this amount of money, because it doesn't need this every year.
Not every year. It's not an annual cost. No.
No, the bulk of this is just getting it back into running shape, and after that, it's just. And it's a low mileage vehicle, so you're probably gonna have to change the oil once a year, that's just one thing.
And did we got the bus? Did we get the bus on a grant?
Yes, sir. I understand that Chuck Allen got on the grant.
Okay. So we've had it a while.
And this grant we got for it came in last minute, so it was kind of crunch getting the stuff in it, but it paid for the radios to go in it, and paid for the computers and printers, get it up to date. So we could actually take it out and use it. It don't have to just be used for emergencies only. Like I said, if the Sheriff wanted to set it up at one of the festivals here in town. Anything like that, fire department's got some kind of fundraiser, y'all want to bring it out just for them to run their stuff out and get familiar with the unit. You could, and that gives us some use, but it's really important in major emergencies. Some of the large fires that we had last year, you can set up run command, and everybody can communicate out of. Some of these storms we've had recently, if we needed to, we could have set up in, if we'd had a lot of people with a lot of serious damage. We just gotta get it to where it's safely driven out there. The sheriff tried to take it to Rolling Oaks on a standoff about a month ago. I rode up there with him. That was a pretty rough little ride on flat tires. I say flat spots on
Out around.
Currently, the bus is in the environmental, the FEMA inventory. So you need, you want to change it with fire marshal. We can change the location. And then I can set up a repair and maintenance line for a bus. If you want it different from the vehicle.
Okay, what is the FEMA inventory? What is that?
But,
Well, I know what it is.
emergency management. That's big people about the bus is actually.
Okay,
So originally we got the bus, emergency management was part of the fire marshal's office.
Emergency management always ran through the fire marshal / Blackman. And then, James Lee and Vicky kind of got crossways and we pulled her out and put her in the fire. So, yeah, I'll keep on. When we pulled her out, that is when we began to pay for her stuff. In the past, we didn't have it.
mhm.
If they got any estimates for the generator work and I guess all the things we do to get it up to par.
They were supposed to call and check around, that's where they come up with these dollar numbers at.
They got prices for tires. I'm just wondering how long ago that was. Because tires have gone up significantly in the last few months.
It was as it was coming in the budget. And that's preparing it. John worked on it again.
Okay. So I guess we need to make a decision on whether we want to make this line item to continue on our investment in, or our commitment to the emergency management bus.
Since we already invested this much in it, might as well get it to work right. I mean, my opinion, it's a 1-year deal, but
It was a goal, and we'd have it available.
hopefully we never need it. Shouldn't we?
Well, we need to make a,
It's also being set up with the computer equipment going in, we can serve as a remote dispatch center if we needed to. When a new radio system goes online, we'll be able to access the radio system and our current CAD system through the internet on the bus. We can actually use a remote dispatch center if need be.
and that won't cost us any more money with Harris to do.
That's part of the package they threw in.
Okay.
I was thinking it working right. Well, we need it.
So why don't we split the difference, $9,000 emergency management bus for upgrades and repairs?
I think I keep it at 10,000, then we spend it all, just make sure they got enough to get it, and if there's some left over, it just goes back.
Like you said, tires are going up.
All right, so we got,
You gotta do something on that, Andy, because I know, like, you gotta have a fuel line for it, because the times we have used it, I've had to send fuel over to put in it. And cover that and out of road and bridge, and that shouldn't be that way. So I think you're gonna have to put a little money in there for fuel, and a little bit of money in there for maintenance, and just like
Okay.
you're doing it. I don't see how you're gonna get around it.
but I would request that, you know, part of the provisions of maintaining it is that it's driven at least monthly. Somewhere.
Ever
Set
since
up.
we started trying to get it back going, the fire marshal has been going over, cranking it up once a week, running it and checking it out.
Mhm. Driving it too, or just cranking it up?
I don't know if they're driving.
So
I
the
think,
tires are,
they're kind of worried about the tires. About 55 miles an hour. It's got a pretty good little death walk.
hmm.
You
Okay,
wouldn't have to drive a lot, but you need to start it at least once a week, especially in the winter, and let it run.
With the new tires on it, wouldn't hurt to drive it
And
around.
I'll tell you, the brand, with it sitting there, brand new tires are gonna have a flat spot on it. You're not gonna get around that. That one thing gets that out, and it's not gonna get out between here and Rolling Oaks. You're gonna have to drive it further than that. It's always gonna have those flat spots. With
So
it
you
sitting-
got a good point, Andy. It needs to be driven at least once a week with new tires.
yeah, once a month, that's what I was thinking, but. Some kind of event.
Well, I say set it up, Sandy, put a little line in there for fuel and line in there for maintenance, and here we go.
Well, you know, a separate section on the environmental budget, and I can set up another section with a different number at the bottom.
Just for the bus.
Just for,
I think that.
in their budget? Yeah, that'd be fine, just for
See,
it.
like it's 567,435, I can drop down and do 567,436 and set up a bus.
That'd be fine.
So you know how much you want fuel,
I'd say
maintenance.
Fuel, repair, maintenance.
fuel, tires, and maintenance and repairs.
Just fuel and maintenance, emergency management, EMB. So,
Fuel.
that 10,000 will include everything.
Yeah.
We don't need two line items, just one line item. For fuel, repair, and maintenance.
And you gotta track maintenance on the 451 and fuel on the 330. You kind of gotta split it out.
I'll just do like 1,000 and not.
Okay. And is it possible to change his on the reports from abatement to fire marshal? Okay. All right, and then the rest of his budget we will discuss when he is able to be here and talk about it. So, is there any other discussion on fire marshal, other than we also need to check and see about grant availability for the body armor?
Did the sheriff just get a grant for body armor? Like, did they like buy 8 of them? or something?
I don't know, like,
We don't have any.
Did they get it if they apply for it? I think they come in and ask to apply for it.
Oh, okay, that's what
Is that what
they
it
applied for.
yeah,
Constable got those shields where
Sheriff came in here for, like, they wanted to get 8 of them. I remember asking how much it cost them. I think cheap. Can't be hurt, they're finding for it.
But their fire marshal are T-close certified and they wear a badge, so they kind of get in that same category with law enforcement when they go out and about. It would be good for them. to
Do
have
they-
that if needed.
do they need the cameras too? Do their camera purchase include supplying the fire marshal with them?
I don't know if it did or not. I'm not really sure on that.
Okay,
But I know there's some places the abatement side of that office goes that I don't want to go without this.
mhm. All right, is there any further discussion?
No, sir.
All right, then we will move on to emergency management. It's all right, I did. There were some changes. I was, going to recommend that we change the stipend that we provide to Vicky from 6,000 to 12,000. Based on the fact that if she worked, $6,000 comes out to $115 a week. And if she works just 8 hours, that would be $575 an hour. And at 12,000, that would come up to $230 a week. And she's putting in roughly 10 to 20 hours a week. And I've worked with her since last October on the new emergency management manual that needed to be updated. And that took a substantial amount of time because there's close to 20 different sections that have to be reviewed and updated. And she's got that done. We haven't presented it yet, but I guess y'all signed off on your sections in that regard. And then like Friday, we pretty much spent the entire day out in the, we started out in the dispatch. We did activate the emergency command center, but we just went over to the sheriff's office and we're in the dispatch center after, not this last Friday, the Friday before last, when we had all the storms and all the tree damage. And we're checking out that in the dispatch center. And then later that afternoon, we went out and toured the county and to look at the damage to decide, you know, if an emergency disaster was declaration needed or not. So I just feel like that we're getting quite a lot out of her and that we need to compensate her for that, considering we don't have to, it's a position that is needs the flexibility, and she has the flexibility. She actually has a full-time job with Net Health, and she uses this as she helps us out when we need to in emergency situations. So she was very active, I guess. I don't know if she was real active in the tornadoes in 2017 and 2019, and I don't know. I guess we weren't paying her, or if she was just doing it gratis. But that's my recommendation, is to up it there. She's probably going to retire in 2 years or so. But on office supplies, and she doesn't spend much. She has a county vehicle that's provided to her, and it's only driven when she's doing emergency management stuff. It's parked the rest of the time, and we don't even have anything in her budget for the cost of that. And so those are my recommendations right there.
I do know, I recall Friday week before, I started dispatch a little before 6, checking on the radio system, make sure it was all still working, and she was there when I got there. And then I seen her after off 2909 and was carrying in that road for the fire department that afternoon.
Yeah, we drove from went all the way down to close to Kickapoo Creek on 2909, and then went all the way back to went south down to 198, and then came back up to 327, just to try to, we had a gentleman, I'm not sure who he is with, but he was with the weather service or whatnot, but he was giving us guidelines about what he thought the situation was. Straight line winds 80 to 85 miles an hour, what he came up with. So
You say she works 10 hours a week?
I would say the average is that, yes.
So fuel for vehicles just comes out of our travel line now? It's
Uh,
just fuel.
Yes. Again, she doesn't use it except when she needs to. She's very frugal with the county's money. As you can see, she hadn't even spent what's been budgeted for this year. And Ted has mentioned several times about moving her back into the fire marshal, under the fire marshal. And I would prefer to keep her reporting directly to me, since I am responsible for emergency management. But
I would too.
when you know, at the point in time when we have a full-time fire marshal and maybe a new and then she retires, I would consider moving it back under the fire marshal. But
I mean, I wouldn't expect her not to report to you. I expect her to still the chain go to you for emergency management. I wasn't trying to avoid that. My thing was just kind of getting it back where she has some help. Because, you know, she's expected to be available all the time like this.
right, I don't have some help. What help would she have? Because they don't have help over there for her.
Well,
Now,
currently, a lot of times she'll ask them to fill in. You've got two different people over there that are certified emergency management.
that's right. Yes, John. And whenever she leaves, like she's on vacation, she informs everybody and tells it who's the backup, who's the new emergency management while she's away. So very communicative in that regard. But and she speaking about space, she's not really officing at the fire marshal's office, because ever since she lost her office, a lot of her time is spent when she's working for Net Health on conference calls, and she can't do that without a private office. So she spends most of her time working out of her house in that regard. So what's your pleasure?
Well, I'd be paying her $23 an hour. If she averages 10 hours a week.
Okay. And if we have a tornado, that average would shoot way up.
But depends, does she work 10 hours every week or is she working as needed?
Well, it kind of depends. I know when we were doing this is emergency management manual. Right here, which we are not going to be printing it out. This is the 2018 version, and we have it done, and it's going to be distributed as PDFs instead of as a printed out document, so that we can save money. But you know, I know she spent more than 10 hours a week when she worked on that, and there will be revisions on that. There's a lot of paperwork and communication that has to be done daily that she does every time there is a storm coming. You know, there's all sorts of emails and stuff that have to be addressed, and she's required to respond to in that regard.
If nothing happens, she's got pretty good money, but when something happens, she's worked that way.
It's
And you
kind of,
never know when something's gonna happen. So I'm good with it.
so. How about you?
It's fine.
Okay, Chad?
I'm good with it.
Okay, so we'll go to 12 on that and then leave the others where they're at.
Just remember, when we get to these others, you're giving somebody that works 10 hours a week, $6,000 a year. So just remember,
Right,
When
and
we
also
start-
remember when she
you
works
gotta-
40 hours a week, she'll be getting less than $10
Yes,
an hour, $20 an hour.
but we're very fastly saying, I'm gonna give this person here because I like this much, I'm gonna give this person here because I don't think they do so much this much, I'm gonna give it this person here this much.
I'm asking to pay her for what she's does, her value for what she does. We could put her as an hourly employee if you'd like. But then how do you account for the week?
Can't put her as an hourly employee because she doesn't work a set amount of hours each week. And Vicky.
It'll be a
would like
part-time, it'll be a part-time.
Well, you can adjust for an emergency, and if you can say, we're gonna leave this at $6,000, but if we have an emergency here, we're gonna put in our budget for X amount of dollars in case she has to go to work 40 hours a week during that emergency, then we'll compensate her for that. But it's been 5 years since we had a tornado, so you can't, that's exactly right.
We had Snowmageddon, 2021. We had the situation with the snow in end of January, 1st of February, where we were closed down. And and then we've had these storms that have been occurring about every 2 weeks.
And
And COVID.
And this past summer, with all the wildfires, just about every time it would break out with them fires all day long everywhere, I'd wind up on the phone with her coordinator. So she does a lot more than just,
All I'm saying is she's not the only employee that deserves a good raise,
I agree,
okay?
I agree with you.
Okay,
I'm not gonna be willing to give emergency management $6,000 a year and only give somebody else $2,000. So it's just not, it's not fair.
all right,
I'm good with giving her $6,000.
all right. And Commissioner Martin,
Yeah, good,
at 6 or at 12?
12.
Okay. I'm good with 12. How about you? Okay.
I'm talking $6,000 raise.
Oh.
I'm good with the
Oh,
12.
I thought you were saying 6. Okay.
No,
All
I'm
right.
good with giving $6,000,
All
but
right.
she's not the only one that deserves $6,000 a year raise.
Right. Well, she is currently not in the salary consideration budget, but we are moving her to that. Because if she goes to 12, she will start getting a paycheck in that regard. Because right now it's just a stipend. That's what it is. So,
So is that gonna make her have to hold out different withholdings?
yes, she'll have to pay FICA. FICA and federal withholding will occur if she chooses to withhold federal.
She chose to not have anything else.
Okay. But we're not taking FICA. We're not, correct, right?
But she gets it at 2 at the end of the year. No.
Okay.
Goes back to code in the system.
All right. Anything further on emergency management?
Yeah, I'm a little confused on the change from stipend to salary.
Well, she's getting paid to a payroll check. But it's just the semantics, really.
So if we switch her to salary, she starts drawing retirement and now she's not, or
No,
She doesn't get retirement.
so that's something we got. I mean, I thought we just increasing the stipend. For what's all involved, we actually switch to salary.
She still won't get retirement.
See, part-time people get retirement.
I think we just need to increase the stop.
okay,
Just make it like, I mean, if she gets 12 now, if she don't want to take anything out, give her W-2 and we're good. Same thing, it's just different number.
All right. So are we done with emergency management?
We got through that, good.
Okay, we'll go back to library now that Tanya's back. And our question is,
Okay,
EDP system, what is the EDP system? That you have $850 budgeted this year and $850 budgeted for next year, and there's been no expense.
I don't know where, it's always been in the budget.
So- Okay, well, then that answers that question. We can remove that. That was it, I think. Did we have any other questions for her? I'm sorry.
I was outside with the air conditioner guy, he came by to see if the electric was back on. I was like,
Okay. I put Aaron on it,
Yeah,
contact them to,
well,
it's a simple fix.
they said it, they were trying to have it fixed by 11, but
Okay,
I don't know.
all right, sorry to make you come back, but that's what.
I'm fine, I just didn't hear the phone ring, I was outside again.
All right, thank you very much.
That was easy.
Yes.
Oh, that's okay, it's good for all here. I could just say.
There we go. Well, I know what it is.
So. You just gotta ask questions. Why do you budget for something you don't know what it is? All right, are we ready to move on to public buildings? Find it.
I'm gonna grab my charger right quick and fix the back.
All right, I'm gonna suggest we take a 5-minute break. We'll start right at 10:30. We'll leave everything recording though. And
Yeah, but.
This thing out all evening Friday. Killed my battery. I run it down.
Do what?
So I had this thing out Friday evening with the cab pulled up where I could track trees down and stuff was chasing them. And run my battery down. Which one we doing next?
Public buildings.
Yeah, so their software has got a phone out program. When it sets you up where you just see the fire side of it. And when you got trees down, they post it as a road hazard. And notify fire department. And then they're supposed to call up. And I've been able to use that app or directly out from here. To go through and see where trees are down. I was gonna set my foreman up with it. Because it comes in real handy. A lot of times you'll get a call for one tree and I'll tell him about 3 more because I'm looking at the app and seeing them post.
Mhm.
If y'all about to get that and set you up with it.
There may be something Shane wants, will that lightning hit me? Because Real, again, it's like on Friday.
And the next set of paragraphs.
Yes. Probably the last day, 7th. Might have to call another. All right, we're ready to proceed?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is the public buildings budget. This is county judge is responsible for that, and I've actually been working. When I came aboard as a maintenance supervisor back in September. And I want to kind of explain this. I saw the numbers in the budget, and one of the things that I noticed was, you see this right here that's highlighted, it's account 450. Well, that was basically the dumping ground for everything. You'll see that the expenses right here, these prior years were substantial, and it wasn't really reflecting where we were spending our money. So I requested that Sandy actually create new accounts that we could divide this out into. And that was plumbing, heating and air conditioning, electrical, and then there was also document destruction. Again, it was just a variety of stuff that it was being coded to. So that's why you won't see some of these numbers tracking over the years, is because we created these new items, line items, and I'm trying to figure out what the best route is to go. On the custodial supplies, I kept the budget at 8,500, the same as last year, and we're about a little bit past half of that for this fiscal year. Landscape maintenance at 10,000, and we're at 4. And again, there was very little landscaping work done for November, December, January, February, and it didn't kick up. So now we're in season hitting it. So we'll hit the 10,000 fairly easy. Travel is 900, and this is mileage for the maintenance employees for traveling between facilities. Electricity, I had it budgeted for 125 this year, again. Kind of going by what the electric bills were, and I thought, well, we're not anywhere close to that. And so I did 100, but then I realized we're in the middle of the summer with the high air conditioning usage, and then this may come up, so I'm asking to go take it back to 110, but still 15,000 lower than the last year. The budget for this year rather. Gas at 10,000. We're at 85. We're pretty much done with the gas usage in the courthouse here. That's where a major part of it is, but still I put it at 10. And then water 16.5. And again, I'm not really sure where we're going on that with 11,000 where it will end up being on there. And then other repairs, I had 35,000 and we're at 11.2, so I went down 20,000 for next year. Repair and maintenance plumbing, we got 12,000. There's 10,000 here, and we spent 4. And we have several plumbing issues that are going to be hitting the budget here shortly. And heating and air conditioning down to 20. It's from 27. It's 6 now, but we're going to be spending. We approved the $10,000 for the JP. One office air conditioning unit to be replaced, so that'll bring that up close to budget there. Electrical is at 12,000, down from 15,000, and we will have, I know, at least $3,500 for work that we've been contracted to have done on the courthouse here outside, and so. Let's see what else. Maintenance service contracts, so that's at 10,000. Apparently, there's no. I think there's something that will come up between now and the end of the year to get us back up to 10. I don't remember what. Document instruction. That's the shredding of the documents, and so far we've only spent $1,300 this year, and so I lowered it from 5,000 to 2,500. Office rentals. Currently 48, and with 31 have been spent this year. I'm not sure what that is. Miscellaneous at 1,000. So that's the total. Any questions on that, or any discussion on those items, or changes you would like to see? I'm open to anything that you think is.
What is the office rentals? Is that where we rent that stuff temporarily because of some of the insurance claims sounding?
Office rentals, yes, that we're reading,
Those containers and stuff?
Yes, and I wasn't sure. That's what I hope to do is to have town hall meetings in each precinct. And there may be a charge for facility rental in that regard, and the equipment for those meetings. So that's why I upped it for that.
So we're gonna start having our regular meetings in different precincts, or?
No, it's just a public forum, town hall meetings to allow the public to come and ask questions. Because the public does not have the ability to ask questions from us at our commissioner court meetings. And so what I would like to do is to go to them probably in the month of August, and go to each precinct and set up a meeting and let the public come and ask questions and express their opinions and let their voices be heard. Is what they have requested.
Who's that?
The people that were at the election demonstration. Quite a few of them are upset that they couldn't have a voice. They couldn't express their opinion. So I feel like we should give them that opportunity to express their opinion.
That's the one we got in the office and the phone line, and he called, talk to the commissioner, or went to.
Well, that's my intent. If you don't want me to do it, well, I will be doing it. If you don't want to allocate money for that, then I'll try to get it donated. And, in that regard, which is highly probable.
I don't have a problem. What about that, you think 500,000 is enough on the?
I'm gonna get to that.
Okay,
I got a whole presentation on that, what that's gonna be, but,
okay.
do you have any, issues with the other line items?
I don't,
But I like the breakdown now that we've got this year, so we can really see where the money's going for the repairs. With the plumbing and the heating and air conditioning and the, electrical.
when you've got that, Andy, what is gonna fall under other repairs?
Water fountain, well, that's actually plumbing. It's just miscellaneous stuff, ice machine,
Okay,
okay? You know, there's all sorts of, another one. We just got notice that, precinct, JP4 has a roof leak. So we need to get the roof repaired there. JP1 has a roof leak, and I think JP2 has a roof leak, so we, you know, that would be. And
okay, I understand, I just didn't know.
okay,
Okay,
all right, well, give me time to get my presentation. I gotta get my mouse over on the right screen. I gotta find the mouse. There it is.
Oh, it's kind of on the subject also, that the district court was leaking Friday.
Okay, the roof, it's not leaking, and that's what I'll tell you what is leaking, okay? That's what we're gonna do, so public buildings right here, and I just want to go back and give you a little bit of history. The courthouse built in 1937, which means it's 86 years old right now. As best I can tell, there's been minimal maintenance the last 50 years. It's been mostly not preventative maintenance, but crisis maintenance to fix a problem of a leak or whatnot. So in that regard, that kind of gives you an idea of the minimal maintenance. That was the tree growing out of the roof before we had the roof repaired in that regard. So the maintenance department was started in 2021, and Joe Carter was assigned to that position as maintenance, and he started working on getting things done. We got a new air conditioner system in we paid for it in 2022. It probably started in 2021. So, and that was roughly $200,000 or so. And then we got the new roof in 2022. Okay, and that was $550,000. So we are steadily progressing, and I think you've seen some major changes in the maintenance of the facility and the appearance and whatnot. I'm really proud of the maintenance department and what they've done. But we've got things that behind the scenes that are going to need to be done in the next year. And so the first one I want to talk about is the courthouse boiler. Okay, the boiler is manufactured in the 60s, mid-60s, I believe, is when it was manufactured and probably installed. And as you see, it's a little bit old. And the current situation we ran into this last winter is that the boiler would not stay lit. It would go off at times, or the pilot would go off and it wouldn't come on, and the water would not stay warm. And when that would happen, the pump on the right there, because the water was not warm, the seal would contract and it would start leaking, and all that red water, it's red water that's run through the system. So that immediate thing, we'll have that repaired. We either need to replace that pump and seal or get it rebuilt. And that will be done before the end of the year in that regard, but that needs to be done. But I would like to go forward with replacing the boiler for out of an issue of safety and also of economy. We spend about $5,000 a year, 4 months a year the boiler's used, and we spend about the last year, 2021, we spent $5,000 in gas. And comparing the price of gas from 2021 to currently, it's almost double in that regard. But by getting a new boiler, we would save gas, but also we may have the opportunity to regulate the temperature of the water. And what that would do is when it's 70 degrees outside, we don't have to run 100-degree temperature through the pipes and basically burn up the courthouse because we have no control right now. It's either on or off, and we couldn't turn it off because of the situation with the pump leaking water this last summer. But anyway, we're replacing 60-year-old technology with something new. I don't have a clue as to what the cost is because we haven't gone out for bid yet, but I do anticipate it'll be under $100,000 in that regard. So that's one of the items that we want to look at. Next item is the courthouse flashing. When we had the courthouse roof repaired, if you look at the picture in the bottom right, we went up to the edge of the flashing along the side. We didn't go all the way up to the edge of the stone. And we have since discovered that this flashing, which I don't know, it's not appropriate to be putting that kind of flashing on the stone, and which was done. And it is starting to peel off underneath stone. And there are places, if you see on the picture on the left, they actually put some kind of press board on the brick, and that press board has developed leaks up at the top, which means the water is going down. And that is actually the leaks that we have occurred in the jury room are from this. When we have a major storm, the water is actually going behind the flashing on the sides of the courthouse and going down and getting into the jury room. And that's the only place. Now, to replace this all the way around the wall, all the way around there, is going to be $80,000 to $100,000. So I'm still working on getting a quote for that. And then we may actually add another section. There's 4 roofs up on the courthouse. This one over here is over on the west side, east side. And then the one facing Dallas Street has the same issue in those 2. The others don't have the issue because they were done in more recently. So we'll do that. But that's one of the things. Again, working on quotes to try to get that done, to try to figure out what the cost is going to be. Okay. Next item is the 5th floor windows.
And
Yes.
that book's blocking my view.
Sorry.
All right, sir.
The jail on the 5th floor has windows with bars on it. Most all of the windows are plastic, and they have the putty that is holding them in is disintegrated, and the windows have actually blown out. And that's what caused the leaks in the courtroom the last time that we had it, which and we'll get to it, because water coming in the 5th floor, going down the drains in the 5th floor. Okay, so one of the first things we need to do is we need to get these windows sealed back up. And I believe that we can do this ourselves with our own staff or with trustees, and putting them back in and puttying them so that they don't leak and blow out. And one of the things we're going to do is take all the wire covering off the windows in order to get to them and do that, and we can access it, but that's a pretty significant problem that we've had. That's what caused the leak in the courthouse that you see the other day. Now, here's the big issue that we still haven't figured out. If you can't, you may barely see it, but back in there is drain pipes these are all running over the district courtroom. This is where the current leaks, and actually the leak that caused the damage to the roof before came from. It's from these pipes, these drain pipes that are going down there. We've had 2 different plumbers come look at it. And the last one I asked, can we reroute these pipes around the edges of the building as opposed to over the courtroom ceiling? Nobody locally wants to touch it because one, it's just a historic building. So I'm now working to try to get somebody that knows historic buildings or structure like this to come and look at it. But this is something over the long term we've got to get addressed if we go any further, to make sure that we don't have plumbing leaks from that's not from the roof drains. The roof drains are draining just fine. These are floor drains up on the 5th floor around the jail that they're doing that. Plus, there's probably some condensation drains also. So, I don't know what that's going to cost, but that's one of the things that I'm that want to address. Okay. So those three things are for sure that we got to do. We'll be working on the rest of this year as far as figuring out what the cost would be. The next item is the courthouse exterior, and you've seen the backside, and if you look at it in the top floors, the metal between the windows has not been painted or protected in I don't know how many years. And again, the metal that was black, the black paint was applied to it a number of years ago by trustees, and it was only applied as high as they could go on ladders, and that was it. And so that's why you don't see it going any further up in that regard. But the whole situation with the exterior will need to be addressed. You'll see on the middle picture were 2 places where the stone has, again, as I explained before, there's water seeping down on the backside of the stone, and it gets the rebar wet that is holding those stones in. When that rebar gets wet and it rusts and expands, and then it pops the stone out. Okay, the farthest picture on the right shows you where this work has been repaired in the past. And I don't know, my source of information on when repairs were made is from John, because he's been here 30 years. And he doesn't remember any stonework being done in 30 years he's been here. So this has been done. But the stonework on the right, if you see the square part, that is the correct way. It's called a Dutchman. That is the correct way to repair it, where you cut it out and put a square piece in. The 2 on the left are incorrect ways of patching it, and that's where it pops out and you just put mortar in there, and that's really improper. The 2 pictures on the bottom are pictures of where mortar is coming out up at the 5th floor, and then you'll see also the farthest one on the right, that's attempted repairs by somebody at some point in the past. I don't know what they used to do that. Plus, the bottom part of that picture is flashing on the west side of the courthouse, which was sprayed on some kind of white liner. And again, it's not really an appropriate way to do the on the stone. It's a spray on liner. So anyway, we're working on this side. Is not a leaking problem right now, so we're not going to worry about that. But what I hope to do, I've been in communication with the Texas Historical Commission, and I feel like I have a good relationship with them. They have informed me that the new round of courthouse grants is going to start. The legislature allocated them money and they anticipate that they'll have new grants will need to be filed or need to be applied for in March or April of next year. And I am going to resurrect the work that we've already had done, which Commissioner West and the other Commissioner Court approved. It's engineering survey that was done. It's called the 95% complete plan. And use that to apply for again. It'll save us a lot of money by using that. We will probably have to spend some money, and that's kind of what I was looking for in that 500,000 I'm requesting for additional engineering work or changes that we want to make in that. But the grant, we are eligible probably for up to $10 million or $9.5 million. The issue is, how much will it cost? The grant that we applied for and the engineering study that we did said it was going to be $9 to $10 million to do all the work, which was complete exterior and interior renovations. Okay, that was back in 2018. Okay, so we know what's happened to construction prices since then, so I have no clue what the cost is going to be now. However, we have done moved forward and done the roof repair, which was part of that, and we've done other repairs that we've done. So my intent is for us to go ahead and apply again for a courthouse renovation grant in 2024 when it's available. And that will require us to match somewhere between $1.5 to $2 million of a $10 million grant. So but that's the intent of what, but my intent is to try to do as much as we can as far as maintenance and update. The outside exterior stuff is going to be significant, and that's not something that we can do on our own. And that's why I look forward to trying to do a grant in that regard. But what is happening, and the reason why we have the situation there you go. Oh, right there. I was on it. The reason why the top mortar on the very top, the edge all the way around, you can see the joints of the mortar has come out, which means the water is going down behind the stone rather than around the stone. And so that is what's causing this particular problem to occur. And we can ignore it. And we'll gradually be faced with the point where all of the stones will have to be replaced, because it would be too time consuming to try to do the Dutchman repairs on all these different stones. So, and plus, you know, I just don't. I want to see the courthouse look nice with the windows. What needs to happen with all the windows is the metal frames need to be sandblasted or sanded off, cleaned up and painted, and then new caulking put on all the windows, and then the metal parts need to be painted and sealed. So, and that's significant. There's, I believe, 383 windows in this courthouse need to be done. So we may be able to do some of the 5th floor windows ourselves. That will say. So that's what I have for the $500,000 that I'm proposing in this coming year. What it would be spent toward, as you see, we spent $656,000 in the prior year and $609,000 this year. So today. So. Questions?
We gotta do something. The grant before was 5 million. And it was gonna cost 10 to do it, so wound up the county was gonna have to come up with $5 million. And no way to do that without going to the voters for a bond, and that's why we turned it down. So if it's changed now to $10 million, and we're only out $1 million, well, sure, you'd be silly not to. But
Well. Most likely it would have doubled,
so if it's gone to 10 and it's gonna cost 20,
yeah,
there again, that's a decision that'll have to go to the voters.
Is this that grant Tim was working on to restore the whole building?
Yes, they were gonna give 5 million. But the cost was gonna be 10 million.
I think the cost is gonna be closer to 15 or 20, they were just estimating.
well, part of it meant because of the interior renovations that were gonna be required, and it was complete redoing of all the electrical and the air conditioning. It would have meant that we had to vacate the courthouse and find a different place, somewhere else to operate out of during the time in which the courthouse is being worked on. And you know, I want one of the things that has to be addressed at some point in time is, and I would like to see as part of the renovations is to renovate the 5th and 4th floor to make them usable space for offices, courtrooms, or whatever. And in order to do that, we have to get rid of the files that are currently being stored up there will need to go somewhere else. So we will need a facility to store files in that regard.
Are we skinning one of those? Skinning?
Yes, but I don't know that we can still get rid of them. But they've actually got the scan files that have come back and are still stored. Again, I don't, until I go into the record retention, but there's a lot of rules and regulations on record retention. And I think like personnel files have to be stored 75 years. Okay, so it's somewhat ridiculous in my viewpoint, but again, there's a reason for it. I don't know what that reason is. But once we get the files, the other issue is, and this is a serious concern, it was addressed once we found out from the engineers who did this structure, this survey for the grant, is that the upper floors were not designed to hold the weight that we currently have up there in the file cabinets. So that is another urgent need that needs to be addressed. And also, as there is no fire alarm system in this building to notify us if there's a fire. And with that, all that paper up there, even though it's in file cabinets, it's still an issue. You know, I'd like to get rid of that. There's not a lot for the building to burn, but when you got the files and things like that, that would be another thing that I would like to see as part of the renovation, is to get a fire alarm system that will be able to warn us of any issues. We could ask some questions. So. That's where we're at. Any questions?
No, sir.
Is
I'm
500,000 enough? You know, I was trying to be very conservative. You know, we could, and again, because I don't have bids right now on any of this stuff, I really don't know where we're going in that regard. But the boiler, I think it was a safety concern too, in addition to an efficiency concern that we need to address. And the windows, you know, this is what we're working on. That's what I'm saying, the maintenance department, that's what we're working toward in that regard.
I think for everything you said, I don't think you're gonna have enough. You can do it all at one time.
Well, I would much rather go ahead and budget more now if you're willing to do that, say 750,000. And then rather than have to come back and ask for it later.
I'm good with 750.
Okay.
We gotta do something on this bill.
We don't. we lose the whole thing.
Yeah.
Then you're looking at about 50 million.
And I don't know that we'll never get a grant, that's what I'm saying. Because there's gonna be so many stipulations on a
Right.
grant like it was last time. I'm not saying don't try to. Don't misunderstand me,
Well, I understand, I
but
understand that.
if,
And
yeah, sure, I can spend $750 or $1 million every year to try to get the building going, but to spend 10 million at one time, that's gotta go to the
Yeah.
voters.
Well, I did get a preliminary, I did get a quote on fixing all the windows and sealing the stone, doing the stonework repair. It was $2 million,
When was that?
3 months ago. Yeah, 3 months ago. And again, a significant amount of windows involved in this process. But I knew that that was just not something that I could, that we could do right now. So, but we gotta plan for the future. And be proactive and preventative and not wait until the building's falling down.
I'm good with 750 myself.
Okay. So you got that? Any others?
That's going with that 500,000 in.
Yes. Yes. All right. Are we done? If we're done with that, we can go do the county judge, while I'm here. See if I find the mouse. Here it is. There it is. I just missed it. I'm by it. Really did not have much change in the county judge budget. Office supplies at $650, postage at $120, even with the increase, as you see, we haven't done much. Training, I did at $3,000. I really would like to send Christy to a training class on for the probate court stuff. Subscriptions and dues went up to $1,000. Bonding is not required because my bond is for 4 years. I believe miscellaneous at $1,500, and office equipment at $1,000. And the office equipment is presentation equipment, like you see here with this big screen TV we just did, and I want to have a portable set of equipment too that we can use to present things to the citizens of Benton County. And miscellaneous, I went up to $1,500 to help account for some of the things I would like to do, anticipate doing, but don't have formal plans for right or formal costs for right now. Any suggestions, changes you'd like to see?
If she's gonna go to that, how about the travel? I mean, how we're gonna, does it all come out of? Okay,
Yeah.
no suggestions from me.
All right, we good with it? All right,
What kind of ideas you got for $1,200?
just what you mean for the 1,500 or
Yeah, I need the miscellaneous.
yeah, okay, so if we do presentations, there's a presentation screen, portable screen, we used one at the voting equipment demo that I borrowed from the ag department, and I'd like to get one for ourselves. It's $86, and it's a 12 by 12 screen, really easy to set up. That's one of the things. And then we may need a projector at some point. I have 3 projectors, but all of them are very low light. They're not high enough lumens to really project well, and it makes it difficult to see. So maybe want a projector for that, and that's the kind of things that looking for. Maybe our own speaker system. You can get one for $500. It would be very useful for places where we need it. All right. Any others that you want to go over? We can go over Veteran Service Office. That's Harry. Do that real quick. Pretty much the same budget as last year. No changes. And I did ask him about training, why he hasn't spent $500, and the conference he's going to is in August. So it's coming, but it hasn't been spent right now. And that would account for the training and the travel in that regards. So again,
Well, we put that travel in there whenever he moved out to that other location. He's supposed to be, I know what Harry's doing. He's covering that expense himself, and he should not be doing that. When he comes over here, he ought to be turning in mileage on that. And that's why we put the $200 in there on travel.
right,
To cover, because we knew he was gonna be out some expense coming from where he's at now, his office now, back to the courthouse. But that just shows you how he's put together. He's not charging us, and he should be. But maybe he'll start. I don't want to take it out.
I asked the same question. I said, why haven't you been spending it? And that's when he said on the travel, he was anticipating using that money for the training class or the conference that he's going to in that regard. So he can split it between that if he needs to.
I'm good with that.
All right. No changes with that. Let's go to DPS. There's really nothing much there. For those of you that don't know, that the county provides a secretary for the DPS office. There's really no other expense as you see down here. And there's really nothing to prove because that would all come under the salaries when we determine the salaries in that regard. So we done we could do indigent health right now. For those of you that don't know, the county is required to provide healthcare services to indigent people who meet the specific requirements. And we have an employee who works in this department whose sole job is to determine the qualifications of the people who apply for the healthcare needs. And so she works over in the annex. Her name's Casey. And this is the budget we've got here. We've got 300 for office supplies, which is down a little bit. We got 100 for, wait a minute, this isn't, I gotta go. I submitted one not knowing she submitted one too. Okay. So she put under office supplies 500, which that's what we had last year. We're gonna go off this and make changes. Postage at 150, which is the same as this year. Medical expenses, that is what the county pays out for people who qualify for medical help. Okay, That's how much it was. And then you can see in the past right here, fiscal 23, it was 74,000, it was 148,000 in 2022. 68,000 21 and 100,000 in 20. So that is the amount that gets approved and paid through there. Okay, telephone, nothing, training 700. Travel. Maintenance contracts. This, I believe, is the software program that she uses to keep that does a lot of the work as far as helping determine if they qualify into I believe that's what that is. And I'm sorry. It's the service, I believe, that actually does the processing of the claims that are paid. I'm gonna turn this fan off.
She didn't change a thing. I'm good with it. Everything she's got. I know we're way over on those medical expenses, but you don't ever know. I mean, we're way over budgeted. So,
Well, and I think, I believe that there's also a conference later on this year she's gonna be going to, so for why she hasn't spent the money in the training and travel. But I don't, and office supplies, she's probably gonna pick up. But I would be pleased to keep the medical expenses at 160 again next year. We're at 74 right now. And it's just, but you never know what size claim is gonna hit and what it's gonna do to it. But I think this is a conservative.
Believe each individual is after our pass.
Is that what it is? Okay.
I'm fine with it myself.
Okay.
Yeah, what she sent over looks pretty good.
All right. Stick with that. Who else can we go to?
Courthouse security.
Well, that technically falls under the sheriff.
Okay.
That's one individual. But it's a separate budget. So there's only a person, that's all there is in it, so there's no.
Compliance officer.
Well, yes, that's the other one, okay, where is that?
Your district clerk.
Compliance officer. This position is what they do is. Elections department. This is a person, it's Liz Harmon on the 3rd floor, and she replaced Bonnie Pratt when Bonnie retired. And she does the, I'm assuming that's what this is. Let me check and see. Okay. She does collections of court fines and fees. She is actually in contact with the people that are owed the court for their fines and fees. She works out, she schedules payment arrangements, and she makes sure that they follow through with their payment arrangements. So it's a significant amount. So and she's office supplies 500. She came up with her own card that she hands out with them that gives them all the instructions, things that they can do when they come up to see her. Do that. That's what the office, most of the office supplies are for. Use their postage. She sends out a lot of mail. Let's see. I think 2,000, in light of what she spent this year, 2,000 is probably going to be fine with the postage increase. Maybe even lower. Maybe 1,500. in that regard, but I don't know what the final is gonna be. Contract services, 5,800. This is for the software. It's iCloud. Yes, I knew it. It just didn't make sense. iCloud. But that's the software she uses to maintain things. And it's amazing to me that every different department has their own specialized software that seems to run $3,000 to $6,000 for a single person to use, but it helps them to do their job and to do it efficiently and keeps track of that in that regard. Subscription and dues at 500 and miscellaneous at 300. So
I'm good.
any issues with those numbers right there?
Not me.
All right. How much time we got? What other ones? We could do county court at law because I don't think they want to actually make a presentation. They didn't request a presentation and I don't believe they changed much of anything at all. I think they just came over with pretty much the same numbers. Actually, it looks a little bit lower. Office supplies 1,500 is 1,000 lower. Postage is the same, and we may want to up that. That has to do with jury summons and other court requirements that may need to go up a little bit, but maybe not. They're only halfway. They're more than 60% through the year, and they're at, I think 2,000 will probably be okay. Psychiatric evaluations, they up to 4,000. And as you see, they've spent 2,500 this year already, which is close to their budgeted amount. So that's probably accurate. Transcripts and defense experts, they went to 3,500. And again, that's one of those you never know when you're gonna need it, but you need to plan for it and budget for it, so it's there. Indigent legal defense, legal aid. And again, this is for the legal aid provided to, when they say a court appointed attorney will provide and provided to you, that is what that is for. That is for what the court is providing to the for the defendant to defend. And as you see in the past, it's 53, 77, 68, and year to date we're at 36, which I think is a little bit low. Some of them may not have billed us yet, but I think keeping it 75 will probably be okay. So indigent legal aid, civil, and they go at 5,000. You see, it's different. These are all criminal cases up here. The legal aid there, and now they've added the civil one, 5,000.
We had to add civil because of our report
Okay,
that we have to separate civil
criminal.
and he was picking up a few of the civil cases. We did ask him to do some.
Okay. Training at 1,500, pretty low. Travel none, office equipment rental none, subscription dues 500.
Doesn't need it on.
No bonding, so we can scratch that. Jury expense at 10,000. Did somebody say that there was legislation that increases jury pay?
There is, I don't know, the government sounded good.
Okay, well, we need to look that up. Jury pay. Okay, miscellaneous at 500, office equipment at 1,500. And so,
I'm good.
I'm good with everything there too.
Looks good to me.
3, you Commissioner Bartner? Martin? All right. Approved. We will move on to, this was county court. We could do other JPs because none of, JP1. Go ahead and do them. All right, office supplies 1,400, same as last year, and they're at 800 currently. Postage at 1,400 or 800. Probably didn't budget for the postage increase. We could probably leave it there. Contract services at 1,200. Training 2,000 and travel 2,800. The JPs submit travel reimbursement for the mileage that they use to go do inquests and court appearances in the jail. Jail stuff. So
I'm good with it. Will the bonding come off this year?
No, that was, well, he has a notary as well. I don't know when the notary.
okay.
But still, it's $500 increase. That's fantastic. I'm good.
I can check on that bond.
And I guess, another one that it got across all 4 JPs, they budget for jurors' expense. And they rarely have a jury. So my question is, do we need to budget for it? Can we put it in some kind of county budget as opposed to their individual budgets? But I don't know. Is that and who pays? Who actually pays the juror? And I assume that's what it's for. Does it go to the district court? Since they do other juries?
Jury, and once when we pay them a check, it goes to whichever court charge goes to whichever court.
Okay. And who cuts the checks?
Kitty's.
Okay. So each juror, and they're done as payroll checks? No, they're just, okay, straight. Okay,
You just don't know, Andy. There's in 3, he's had one because he spent $92. I can understand. They don't, I assume they put it there because they just don't know if they're gonna have,
right,
if somebody's gonna come in there and demand one. I don't think I think it's the, what do you call it, the defendant that has the right to ask for that.
right.
You think $500 is for all of them? I think some of them's got 1,000, some of them got 500.
I thought
No, everybody's got,
all of them have 5 unless,
all of them have 5. And
no, four's got 750. Well, he might have upped it to 1,000, but
He
did.
does.
I think 500 on each one of them is plenty.
Okay,
That's what the other 3 just asked for their 500 back, and I think that's fine.
all right, let's go back up to JP1
I'm good with it
and
myself.
I think JP1 done a good job.
I'm sorry.
I think JP1 done a good job.
He is doing
Yeah.
a good job.
Okay, so no changes to JP1. All right, JP2. Is 1,300 for office supplies, and they're not far behind that. 1,350 for postage. And that will probably cover with the increase. Contract services at 1,200. And training 3,000. And travel at 1,500. It seems kind of low.
On the travel,
Yeah,
well, he's only spent 511 for the year.
yeah,
He doesn't have to travel back. This the bill is a lot shorter than
yeah,
I see.
his.
okay. Subscriptions are $250, bonding at $300. Will he need a bond, like,
Well, see, I'm looking on 2020, that $96 will be married notary. That's for 4 years, so we got 1, 2, 3. She'll probably have to have the notary this year,
okay,
at least, but I think that notary is going up. But at least 150 there.
let's leave it at 300. But the JPs do not, the JPs that were sworn in January 1st have a 4-year bond, correct? Okay,
I'm good with it myself.
okay. All right, so now we already talked about JP4, or are we doing JP3? JP3 now. And we have $12.50 for office supplies. That falls in line with what to spending. Postage at $1,300. Ooh, that's gonna be low. That's gonna be low if they're at $12.40. Of course, they could have gone and bought forever stamps and stocked up for a year's supply in that regard.
That's good thinking.
Yeah. So, and that could be why they're at their budget. So we'll leave it at 1,300. Their contract services is at 1,200.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the same. And again, it's still that training is 2,500.
His training may be up a little because he's got a fairly new employee there that he may be training more. So I can understand him raising that a little. Didn't he go to 25 instead of 23?
Yes. Yeah,
So he may be planning on doing something with that new employee.
all right. And then travel at 2,500. That's probably adequate maintenance. Office cleaning, they use a gentleman to come in and clean after hours. And so that's,
We don't currently pay anybody.
we know. Okay, we need to find out how he's getting paid. You know,
He does my cleaning right now.
yes. Now, it could be a probation or a community service worker. In my understanding, because I know Jeff is there when he comes in after hours. They don't do it during the day, they do it after hours. Jury expense at 500. Oh, they did have $92 this year.
How are the other, let me ask, how are the other officers cleaned? The other JPs?
They take care of their own. We do some for JP2, but JP1 and 4 take care of their own cleaning.
Well, you're gonna get something started there.
Yeah, you just supposed to hire a whole staff for every building.
Or none at all.
I think Misty asked for that a while back, didn't she, last year?
I don't remember. So deny it?
Well, I'm not saying. I know that office is different. Herbert can't clean an office
Mhm,
like one of the other JPs can.
mhm.
I mean,
Well, typically they have their clerks clean it,
okay,
is what every bounce do.
Or he is not capable of cleaning.
I say deny it. We're just gonna get something started myself.
I agree.
Okay. So the office cleaning is spiked. And nothing, everything else is okay. So JP3, we've already, I think we already go back and talk about JP4?
No, sir.
I mean, after Scott did his presentation, I don't know if we had any.
Well, he had that $1,000 for jury, and you want to drop that down to 500?
Yes,
Oh.
make that 500 and
We did it, didn't we, Sandy?
We lowered it from $2,000.
okay,
I think we need to lower jury expense to 500
Yeah.
like the other three.
yeah. Be consistent throughout those JPs.
Yeah, there ain't a history of a lot of it being used.
That $2,000 for office equipment, it says, I don't remember, it says for. What's it say, $2,000?
Phone system.
For.
Phone system.
Yeah, and that was.
We addressed that. Scott is actually working on a countywide phone system for everybody, so. All right. Any other related JPs? Do we do the individual constables?
Yeah, they were all here.
But we didn't do their individuals, did we? After they did their presentation? Thought we did. What did we say?
We did.
Yeah, we've already done them. Okay,
I did go in and remove the bonding request that Tommy run and probably had seven fifty bonded.
okay,
Yeah, we went over, because remember the fuel was common,
yeah.
we were questioning that, yeah, we went over them all.
All right. County auditor.
The only thing I changed was lower the postage. And we don't use that postage. I try and use it 4,500, and I do like to pay for my ladies with me when I go. Good experience for them to go see.
Mm-hmm.
Auditors and stuff. We normally have the on the road training in the summer, which if it's slow, sometimes it's entire, sometimes it's in if it's slow, I'll let the two of the ladies go
Mm-hmm.
to that, so they'll at least get some.
I'm good.
Looks good to me.
Well, I'm gonna have to object to something.
Ah,
It can't be unanimous. Oh. All right, I'm fine with it too.
Adult probation, who's that with?
That would be Karen Burns. I don't think there was anything specific on there. It was just carrying over. The adult probation office is pretty much funded through the state. I don't know exactly what it is that they got a miscellaneous of $1,000 is all they put down. And $1,500 in capital expenses. We are required to provide them with the office space and the utilities. And that's the primary thing, but we don't pay the salaries, we don't pay the insurance, all of that's handled through the state.
I am a physical officer, and so we're the manager of roads. And I was there for outside.
Okay.
I did a quarterly.
Okay.
But I go on.
I'm trying to think if. Yeah, they didn't schedule. This is another one that is Ag Extension Service. We had two different people, maybe not. Don't remember. No, they weren't aware. The AgriLife people, there's one employee from the county And then the other two, Amy and Allison, are actually employed through the Ag Extension Service, but we provide right now it's $18,000 a year in that regard. And but the office supplies, they had 1,750 budget, and you got to remember they've gone for a whole year without anybody.
That's right.
On just our secretary, Allison, or not Elena has been there. And so they haven't had a lot of expense, but once they got hired on, they've hit the ground running. I'm really proud of what they've been doing. And so what we've got down here is again from the 2,500 for office supplies, which they'll hit that real easy with, and I don't know how much AgriLife contributes to these different categories either, but from what I've seen in programs that they're doing, that is justifiable. Spend that postage at 100, that we'll leave it at that. Training, don't know about that. And travel, yes, as part of the agreement, we pay for their mileage for the trips that they make. They submit mileage reports.
Probably came down there in my office with them because they are so proactive and working, you know, like when they went to the Houston Livestock Show, you know, they stayed overnight. We weren't usually paying hotel rooms. So actually wasn't training, but yet they had to be down there for 4-H kids. We just took that out of track.
Okay,
It's kind of a new adventure for us.
yeah,
Tommy and Melissa didn't actually go. That much. No kids.
but we had 16,000 budgeted even before they got here, so.
See, in the past, we had paid Tommy and Melissa just an auto license,
Mhm.
part of their salary. Like. And last year. The board changed that to full knowledge. So that keep up knowledge.
Which that's another thing we haven't discussed in the commissioner court. Are we going to continue with the 58 cents a mile, or do we up it since the IRS is what, 65?
So it is. Now probably like all the way down.
Well, we got it at 50 now,
Yeah.
58,
and
IRS is 65.
yeah, but when we raised it to 58 last year, what was IRS? We're always a little under the
We
IRS.
raised it 17%.
Yeah, it was 50. It was from 50, I think, to 58,
Right.
somewhere along there. But let's wait for Virgil to come back, when Virgil's here to discuss that. So, subscriptions at 500 and miscellaneous at 1,000.
Now, the extension office, we've always budgeted for a new computer every year.
Okay,
That 1,500 was for.
okay.
I'm gonna have one every year. They always do.
Well, there's three, and then we provide a layman's, right? Or do we? So that would, if they're swapping out different ones, we gotta find that out.
With that nine, we bought two two for 2023 because. Melissa ordered that computer, like Tommy always took care of that and listening on us, we needed to do it. That's number 2 in 2023. Normally it's like $1,000.
Okay. So we don't need to budget if they've already got the computers. We don't need to budget.
I don't think they need a computer every year.
Why they do that? I don't know. I don't know why they do.
I don't need one every year.
How many positions are there with computers?
There's 3.
The ladies may have a desk, computer and laptop.
Okay. So let me get with them to find out before we make any
Do
decisions.
they work under IT? I'm sorry, do they work under our IT?
Well, that's what I don't know. I don't think so. I think Elena, has issues. She wasn't able to log in and they have different internet because Elena was not able to clock in and out because their internet was down, which was a particular one. All right, I will follow up with them. I thought Allison submitted something, but I think mine was more generous. That's why I put mine in. But I'll sit down and talk to her about it. But I would like to increase their. It's not a stipend, what is it called? Allocation from 18 to 20.
So it's kind of supplement.
Supplement. But we can talk about that during salary, or yes, or we talk about it now. No, wait, we'll wait until I get all the rest of the stuff, then we'll talk about it. I get more answers on the other equipment. All right, anything else? We're gonna need to talk about that. We need to schedule that for a different time. I have to do some more research, see what, I don't think it, see what's there. Oh, there it is, okay. Yeah, let me do some more research on that before we talk about it. All right, there's nothing else. I'm going to call our meeting to an end. At 11:45, so we say 45 minutes. Actually, we didn't have anything scheduled for us this time. And there is no meetings tomorrow. And the next budget workshop is on Wednesday. And we start out with human resources. Then we for an hour, and then we got trust me, we will go an hour. So, and then IT for an hour. And then county clerk elect, we'll talk policy and human and the employee manual and updates to that. That's a good time to do that. So that's what we'll talk. So that's the full house for Wednesday. Thursday, we will have the treasurer at 9 a.m. and then at 10 a.m. we'll have the district attorney, and at 11 a.m. we'll have the tax assessor collector. We currently have no scheduled meetings for Friday, but we have the day is done, which we could move Road and Bridge to Friday if you would like. And then right now, the whole Thursday, 7-6 Road and Bridge. And if we move Road and Bridge to Friday, then we can go work on salaries on 7-6.
I'm not gonna be here Friday.
Oh, you're not? Okay, Brandon, I think you told me that. Brandon, no.
I'll be here for a little bit Thursday.
Okay. But you will be here on
Yeah.
the 6th and the 7th. Okay, well, no, let's leave that schedule there.
It ain't gonna take all day for Road and Bridge.
I hope not.
It won't. I promise you.
Because you're not going to object to anything, right?
Well, it just
All right,
depends on if it favors me.
yeah. All right. I'll close the Zoom meeting as soon as 2 commissioners leave the building, or leave the room.
I'll volunteer.
I do too.
Because we can't be present in a quorum and not be recorded. Thank you, gentlemen
Sir.
and ladies. All right, Zoom meeting, there it is. Oh, I'm trying to go with this. I'm trying to go to that step over here. We need to know how to